If you're a realtor, you've probably given some thought to staying safe on the job. We talked to a member of the Lee County Sheriff's Office who offers advice on how to do just that on this episode of the Royal Palmcast, which begins right now.
From the studios of the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association in Fort Myers, Florida, this is the Royal Palmcast, the show about people and things that realtors, homebuyers, and home sellers care about. And now, here's your host, Jim Sanville.
Hello and welcome to the Royal Palmcast. I'm Jim Sanville, your host, along with Jerry Johnson on our control board today. Jerry, how are you?
Hey, Jim, good morning. I am doing good today. Happy that the sun is finally back after a few pretty heavy rainy days. And oddly today, I'm feeling safer. You have any clue why that might be?
Well, I just saw the NAR safety report that we published on our social media, and I was thinking it would be a good idea to follow up on that, but more on that later.
I can't wait.
Yeah, we do have a very special guest, as Jerry alludes to, here in the studio in Fort Myers, Florida at the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association. I'll introduce her in just a moment. But Jerry, first I want to double check to make sure everything is going well. It's been a very busy week here.
It's been going very well. Work has picked up quite a bit here at the association, as you know. It's becoming busy season for us, especially in our department. And we've been ramping up on our end with a lot of video capture, photography, and of course our shows, including this one and Realtors Corner and our other podcast, Realtor Riff Rap. It's a great thing because we're off to a great start and just going to keep going forward.
Yeah, I love doing this stuff, and I know you do, so it works out very well for both of us. Today in our studio, I won't delay this any longer because this is a great guest. When I first talked with Jerry about starting this podcast, one of the guests I thought would be great for this show is here in our studio today. It took us almost a year to get her, but finally we landed a real get. Her name is Dr. Kim Swanson, PhD, FCPP. She's from the Lee County Sheriff's Office here in Southwest Florida. Her title is Community Response Unit Crime Prevention Specialist, and she has been with the Lee County Sheriff's Office for 25 years. Now, before that, she was director of the Women's Resource Center. She's been a sheriff's deputy at Lee County Sheriff's Office, public information officer, and a crime prevention specialist in the Community Response Unit. So she has certifications including a self-defense instructor, multiple degrees, including a PhD in business administration, and her PhD dissertation topic was workplace violence. This is a woman who knows about safety. She knows all the ins and outs, all the tricks the bad guys use, and how to thwart them. She's an instructor at the Florida Attorney General's Office of Crime Prevention and the Florida Crime Prevention Association, the National Sheriff's Association Triad Organization, as well as here at RPCRA, where she teaches our realtor members how to stay safe while doing their jobs. Dr. Swanson, I don't want to belabor this because I have so many questions, but I think it's important to point out a really nice accolade you received in 2015. You were the Florida Crime Prevention Practitioner of the Year. That's pretty good. Welcome to the show, Dr. Swanson.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoy being on the Jim and Jerry show,
yeah.
The double J's.
JJ show. Yeah, that's it. Now, tell me about yourself, first of all. I kind of want to get to know you a little bit. You grew up where?
I grew up in Lindsborg, Kansas. It's a Swedish tourist town. I lived in the country. My dad was a farmer and a public school teacher. We lived there, and I really enjoyed my Swedish heritage. Everything was Swedish there. Then met my husband. We've been married 40 years, have an adult son, and now when we moved to Idaho, owned a restaurant there and got a little too cold, so we ended up in Florida. Believe it or not, we just checked out the Chamber of Commerce's in different areas and picked one. So I did start out in the Sarasota police department down there because I needed a night job, and then we gravitated vacationing here in beautiful Lee County, and so I ended up here.
Oh, we're glad to have you.
At the sheriff's office.
Glad to have you. This sounds like an idyllic place where you grew up outside on a farm in Little Sweden, USA, as they call it, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Now, did you do a lot of farm chores, or did you not ever get into that stuff?
Oh, no. I did my share of picking up bales or riding on the hay bales, feeding cows, chickens, sheep. We had everything. My sister had the horses. We had gardens, so at night for supper, go out to the garden, pick something for our salads, have fresh strawberries, and we really enjoyed it. We had a lot of, our time was spent climbing trees and using our imagination.
Wow.
So I really enjoyed it.
That's very cool. I'm picturing Dorothy Gale in
Yes.
Kansas, right?
In
You were
fact,
her.
when I used to work at a daycare, and I was pregnant. And when they'd have Halloween, I'd always go as Dorothy because it was the easiest costume to put on.
And Toto too?
Yeah.
Did you have to deal with
Stuffed dog.
Did you have to deal with any tornadoes?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
How about Wicked Witches?
Most of the time we saw them coming over the hills, but we did get hit one time. And it's very interesting because my grandparents lived a quarter of a mile down the road. It hit our house, destroyed our cars. We just barely made it to the cellar, and my mom was trying to get the door, and the wind pulled it out away from her. But we had walked. It was in the middle of the night, so we walked in our bare feet and our pajamas down a quarter mile, and they were still asleep. They didn't even get hit because it had made an S around their house, and they didn't even know that anything was happening.
Wow.
So
it's amazing.
Yeah, and hopefully there were no Wicked Witches in your dreams,
right,
or anywhere else
right.
in Kansas.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough of that. I could talk about your life in Kansas for a long time. I've never been there. One of the few places I've never been.
It's flat.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. All right, let's talk safety, Dr. Swanson. Where do you begin? I know you just did a class, an online class here at RPCRA for our Realtor members, and talked about how they can stay safe. Where do you start off with that class? How do you kind of lay the foundation for gaining safety awareness?
Well, I want to reiterate in the class to begin with, because there's usually a mixture of experienced agents, whether they've come from another state or they're here, and then there's newbies. And so I really want to tell them, hey, safety is no matter how long you've been in the business. Many times if we've been there a long time, we get complacent. Nothing's ever happened. And fortunately, this is a very safe county. We haven't had hardly any realtor violence. Other states have. So I want them to be cognizant that when you go out your house in the morning, be aware, put on your awareness. When you're coming home, that's when you're tired. You might be thinking, let's see what I need for supper. I got to go pick up my kid from soccer. We need to be aware our whole day, and both whether it's night or whether you're experienced or whether you're a newcomer to the industry.
Mm-hmm. I heard you say in the class even more about awareness. That extends to things like a Google search. You recommend people do that for their clients?
Yes. When you first are getting clients, you are wanting to get as many as possible. So you may skip screening the prospect. I know I've talked to a couple experienced ones that say, I just didn't have time, or I wanted to hurry up and get out there and show them a house. It's important that at least now with the internet, we can Google to see where they come up. You can look. We have an app at the sheriff's office that you just push a button. It goes to the sex offender registry. You can check out the registry. Just do a few checks if you can. But I always say bring them to the office, meet them there first, get all their information. If you get it over the phone, then when you meet them in person, check them out. Say, you know what, let's see, you told me you were moving from, where was it again? And see if they can remember, because lies are hard to remember. Mm-hmm. And if they say, it was Michigan, and on your form on the phone yesterday or the day before, they said it was Iowa. Mm-hmm. Something's wrong here. Also, you can look if they get their email, get their text, get their phone numbers, and then call it back and make sure it's a good number.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, another point that I recall you making is that confidence is really a key to staying safe. Talk about that, if you would.
Yeah, and this is relevant to both men and women. I run into where men feel that only the women are vulnerable, that the men aren't going to be victims, but there are many cases where men are also targeted for robbery, for other things. So it's something that transcends both genders. But the confidence is many of our criminals that are actually looking for someone to victimize, first thing they look at is the walk, the gait. Do they have their eyes down on their phone, or are they like, oh man, somebody's coming, I'm going to not look at them? That's the wrong thing to do. If you got your shoulders back, you look like, hey, I can take care of myself. You may be scared to death, but you present that I know what I'm doing, I'm in control of this situation, don't mess with me. Many times they're saying, I think I'll go,
so
take somebody else.
That actually plays into the mindset
Yes.
of the potential perpetrator, right?
And the research shows that, yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting, very interesting. And it makes sense, too. Now, when folks list a property, if you're a realtor and you're listing a property and start to market it, what are some of your rules or tips for how to do that safely?
Well, in this nowadays, we have the internet, we have social media. So your name and your face, all that information is out there in so many more places than it used to be. There are a lot of public records, of course, and so there's some things that you can't really hide. We always suggest that when you're building rapport, when you're putting yourself out there, you're going to have a picture. Most of the time, you're going to have a nice picture. You don't want to put yourself out like you just woke up from sleep. So you can't get by that, but don't put a picture out that has you wearing this big fancy diamond necklace that your spouse gave you for Valentine's Day. Keep those out of the way, because many of them have that perception anyway, because you are looking professional, that you are rich. And I don't know, I haven't found many very rich people in the world. So we want to present ourselves nicely. We want to market ourselves, but if you're a female, maybe instead of putting your first name, putting an initial, and then as you feel your way along, putting out the first name. Lots of times you're on billboards, you're on benches, there's different places. Try to use a work email, a work phone number. Keep them separate from your personal one. Don't even give out your personal information to a client, even if you feel like you've gained rapport or that you trust them. That is one of the things that we would suggest, so you keep them separate. I know as a deputy, sometimes I'm trying to build rapport with a suspect that I'm taking to jail. I'm trying to make sure that they don't act up, and so I'm being friendlier until they give me that they don't. But it's easy when you're building rapport to let go personal information. And you might like, oh, you have children? Yeah, I have children too. I have several of them. You bring them into the office and you've got pictures of your children or your family behind you, or maybe a school name, and they see that. And if they have nefarious want to do harm to you, they may get that. We've had issues, not here, but with cyber stalking. And they have gotten their personal information, and they've found out where they live, which many times is in public records anyway. So just trying to put out your work information, but not your personal.
Okay. Now, if you're a realtor and you've set up a Facebook page, for example, or some other social media that is strictly work-related, business-related, should you also refrain from keeping a personal Facebook page that has all the kind of details you just described? In this day and age, I would suggest many times when you put on a profile, you don't have to put your real date of birth. Don't make up one. When you do security questions for things, you don't have to put a real answer for your security. Put a fake one, but one that you will remember, that you write down. These are all some layers of security. We talk about that with house security, but we talk about it with cybersecurity too. I would suggest, if you do have part of your job, which is when you're in real estate, is putting yourself out there, you have it out there in your professional, that you be careful with your personal. Maybe not having a personal social media, but if you do, keeping it very generic, not putting out a lot of pictures. I'm going on vacation. This is a picture of my house, that type of thing. Refrain from that and just keeping it generic, and only accept friends that you know.
not just anybody that sends you a friend request.
Yeah, and you can also use the security settings on Facebook, for example, to determine who sees your photos.
Correct.
Other than the profile photo, which is typically public, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. The profile is normally public. The main thing that you need to remember when you get to social media is you accept a friend request. It can be somebody you know, but you don't know who they have accepted as a friend request. And you put something out there, pictures or whatever, and they share it to their friends, and their friends share it to their friends, and now they don't have the same security consciousness as you do. So it's out there. And you just have to know in this day and age, everything's out there.
Yeah.
And just try to keep it as private as possible.
Yeah, we're a society that loves to share stuff on Facebook, but it's easy to overshare.
Yes.
So, words of wisdom. I want to ask you, too, about the mechanics of showing a house, what you need to do before you even show the house and driving there. But first, we need to take a quick break, and we will be right back in just one moment.
Hi, I'm Andrea Dillon, and you're listening to the Royal Palmcast.
Hi, I'm Vince Montarelli from Habitat for Humanity of Lee and Henry Counties. You're listening to the Royal Palmcast.
Hi, I'm Angela Foster, and you're listening to the Royal Palmcast. Education, you need it, we've got it. I'm Angela Foster, Director of Education at Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association. If you're a realtor in Southwest Florida, the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association has the classes, courses, workshops, and webinars you need to stay at the top of your game and keep your license current. Looking to build your continuing education hours? We offer core law and code of ethics classes to fulfill your CE requirement, along with many other courses to fulfill your requirements for specialty credits. Want to learn the ins and outs of the specific market you serve? Our A Series provides an in-depth look at Cape Coral and Fort Myers with all the right experts to fill you in. Our Contract Series is a 5-session course on listing agreements, FAR contracts, timelines, and more. It doesn't end there. Classes like how to stay out of real estate jail, negotiating skills, listing tips, conflict resolution, and many more keep realtors in Lee County up to speed with the latest information. Many of our classes are free to members, and some are open to non-members. If you're a real estate professional who's interested in working in the Southwest Florida market, we've got you covered. For more information, visit our website at rpcra.org or email education@rpcra.org.
As we strive to continue providing our Realtor members with the resources and tools they need for success, we wanted to make you aware of 3 MLS services: MLS Touch, e-commissions, and MLS Showing Time. Make sure to check out our Facebook page for more detailed information on what these services provide, and of course, all of the other valuable resources, classes, and events the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association has to offer. At RPCRA, we're committed to the success of all members. That's who we are.
We are back. You're listening to the Royal Palmcast. I'm Jim Sanville with Jerry Johnson, along with our guest today. That is Dr. Kim Swanson. She's with the Lee County Sheriff's Office. She is an expert on safety, and particularly she knows about realtor safety. She actually teaches a class for our members here at the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association so that our members can stay safe. Dr. Swanson, let's jump right back into our conversation. I want to talk about the mechanics of showing a house and what kind of safety rules you ought to keep in mind. What do you need to do before you even show a house?
Well, if you're able to, because sometimes they will just say, hey, I want to see this, and you don't have a chance to pre-see it. So that's when you really have to be aware, just to make sure. But if you have a listing of certain houses that you're responsible for or that you're interested in showing, if you're able to, go there ahead of time. Make sure, look at the neighborhood. Is there a lot of overgrown grass? Is there people sitting outside kind of watching? No trespassing, no, beware of dog signs, so you know that maybe there's an animal in the area. I suggest doing a windshield survey, which is what I call when you drive through the area. Say you're going to show a house at 10 o'clock next couple days. Well, go at 10 o'clock around that time period, the day before, day earlier, and see what kind of activity there is. Is this a neighborhood where everybody's gone, so there's nobody around? Is it a very active one? Is there school buses? What's going on? What kind of a neighborhood is it at that time of day? Then check out your house. If it's an occupied house and you're selling, make sure that the owners can put away any valuables, because that's what the criminals are looking for: the jewelry, cash, the medications that are in the bathroom, firearms that might be in a nightstand, phones left out, things like that can be easily picked up and put in a pocket. So make sure that's put away. Another thing is to know the neighbors, if they have neighbors. I had, in fact, this tip came from one of your people that one of the agents that attended one of the safety meetings I put on, and she said that she had given a business card to her the neighbor and said, "Hey, I'm doing an open house over here. I'm going to be showing it. Here, if you see anything hinky that's going around, anything that's kind of off, call me, because I'll be inside." And toward the end, she got a call on her cell phone, and the neighbor said, "I just saw two guys outside, and I don't know, they don't look very good. They're kind of shady." So she immediately went out the front, went into her car, called 911, and the police came, and they found him inside in the bedroom hiding. Mm-hmm. And so if it wasn't for her getting to know the neighbors and letting them know there's an open house or there's a showing, that they helped kept an eye out for her too.
Wow, how fortuitous.
Yeah.
That ended well.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, she had attended your class and was aware to do that. Now, what if you do drive through a neighborhood at 10 a.m. on Monday and things look kind of suspicious and your spidey sense is tinkling? How do you handle it? Do you cancel the showing? What do you do? Well,
it depends on how are your spidey senses. Is it because you see something that there's a drug deal going on or there's a fight in the street? If it's just like there's an abandoned house next door, it doesn't mean you have to cancel your showing, but maybe bring a second person with you.
Sure.
Don't go in the evening if possible. Try to do it during the hours when there's not a lot of darkness, that type of thing. Is there other neighbors around? Make sure your car is maintained so it won't break down, or have your phone charged so that you're able to call if you need to. And just be aware. I wouldn't say you'd have to cancel for anything. And if you've seen something going that's like a drug deal or somebody's fighting, then call 911 and have them come and check it out, and then you may want to reschedule.
Mm-hmm. Now, when there is one realtor showing a house, they're obviously more vulnerable to attack or some kind of assault. Mm-hmm. Now, what the statistics show us that when there are two people present, there are still crimes or attempted crimes?
There are occasionally. I have read where a wife and her husband, she brought her husband along, but they still were robbed. But for the majority, if there's two, like I'm thinking of one, she brought her friend. It doesn't mean that you have to have two agents there, but if there's a second person that can help keep watch too while you're maybe talking to someone, and that includes your property if you have your purse there. But for the majority, they feel like if there's two, it's probably risky, and they aren't going to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if you do have a second person, maybe see if they can stay the whole time, because there was one incident where the friend had to leave early, and the criminal came in, and after they left, and they felt like that person was watching till that person left, and then took that opportunity.
And some of these bad guys and bad women, I guess. Have some pretty clever ruses too. They use from time to time. Tell me about the woman who needed to make a phone call in the bedroom.
Well, there's a couple of various ruses that continue to be used because they're so successful. One of them that you have to be aware of is don't make assumptions that just because they're old, they're young, they're a woman, they're dressed nicely, that they don't have nefarious motivations. This one woman came early, and I know the rule of thumb is that a lot of them will come late to a showing or an open house, but in this case she came very early. It was raining. She was dressed very nicely. She was an older woman driving a very nice, expensive car. So I'm sure the agent's guard was down.
I would think.
And was trying to get her in quickly. Hey, come on in, and take off your shoes, and it's be comfortable. Well, the woman then said, well, I need to make a phone call because my sister's supposed to come, and I need to find out why she's not here. So the agent, to give her privacy, which is commendable, but you shouldn't turn your back. You should keep an eye on where that person's going, even if they're making a phone call. I let her alone for many minutes, and about 4 or 5 minutes later, the woman came and found her and said, I got to go because my sister can't come. I'm so sorry. She was okay. So the agent found out that during that time she had gone in the bathroom and stole all the medication that was in the medicine chest. So that's one ruse. She, let down her guard. We've had, when they're pregnant, used as a ruse because she's pregnant, she's not going to do anything.
Okay. Now, what are your rules around holding an open house? Do you have some guidelines that you recommend realtors adhere to?
Well, I mentioned a couple of them, like getting to know the neighbors, stage the house. I suggest not bringing your purse in. Too many times it can be stolen. We've had a couple ruses with that, where they steal their credit cards and use them, identity theft. Use a pocket card holder instead and put your wallet, your driver's license, credit cards in it, and put in your pocket so that you don't have to carry anything. You don't have to worry about something. Make sure you have your phone with you, so if you need to call right away, kind of know where you always have your exits. Make sure your doors are unlocked. Deadbolts. We've had some situations where they forgot about the deadbolts, and so when they went to open the door, it was locked. Checking out and making sure that all the window shades are open, so they're, if somebody's coming, they can see in. All those things will deter a criminal if they feel like they're going to be seen or heard by others.
Wow, that's very, very good advice. There are so many things I'd like to ask you. One of them is about what to do if you are attacked and self-defense. So when push comes to shove, we're unfortunately running out of time. So I'm wondering if you'd be willing to come back for another show.
Of course.
Great. Well, that leaves us just enough time for my favorite part of the program. This is called the Lightning Round. And I think you've been warned, Dr. Swanson, about the lightning round. Yeah. Now, when we do the lightning round, Jerry leaves his house very, very early in the morning. He lives out in Cape Coral. He's been dragging all day.
Sorry about
because
that.
He has to go out to Lehigh Acres and find a secret location where there is a Supra box, a lock box on a door. Jerry opens it up. Only he has access to it, and he gets the lightning round questions, brings them back to the studio before anyone's even in the office in the morning.
Before the sun rises, that's right.
This guy's unbelievable. The commitment.
Magic.
Jerry, may I have the lightning round questions?
Yes, Jim. Stand by. And here's
Better be some good ones.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Oh boy. Oh, these
My brain cells may need more coffee.
These are not the usual lightning round. No, they're we got a special surprise one
dug
in there.
deep for those.
In there for
yeah.
you, Dr. Swanson.
All
right, lightning round. We're looking for soundbite answers. Don't overthink it, and just we want to learn a little bit more about you. All right. Now, when and where was the last time you saw snow?
Oh, Kansas.
Kansas. I didn't.
That was like how old am I? 60 years ago.
6 years ago?
60.
60 years since you've seen snow? Wow.
I haven't seen snow for a long time.
Well, stay out of my freezer. It needs some defrosting. That might shock you.
I bet they did not coincide with the tornado.
Oh, different seasons.
Yeah.
All right. Now, where would you live if not in Florida?
Hawaii.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Anywhere it's warm.
Yeah. Cats or dogs?
Cats. We have two.
Cat person. What are their names?
Moxie and Marty. They're brothers.
Moxie. That's a famous soda that's up in Maine.
Really? Never heard of it. We have Pop.
Well, she mentioned Moxie.
I'm from Kansas.
I knew you'd find a way.
I used to live in Lisbon Falls, Maine, and we had a Moxie festival every year. So
what does that mean?
It's a soft drink.
Oh.
Yeah, Moxie. But enough. Jerry's had enough about Maine and Moxie. So let me go to the next question in our lightning round. Now, this is an audio show, so we like to paint a picture for our listeners. Who's the celebrity you've been told you most resemble?
I don't think I've ever been told that.
No?
No. Well, see, I used to have brown hair. Now I have gray.
Mm-hmm. So you look
I can't think of anything.
Kind of like. All right.
Somebody else should tell you. You shouldn't think of it.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you sleep on that one, and we'll put it in the show notes. What's your guilty pleasure, Dr. Swanson?
Oh, I like to go out into the pool with my coffee and my e-reader.
That sounds pretty standard. Do you feel guilty about that?
Oh, sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm such a go person. It's like,
pulled in many, many directions.
Coffee is my guilty pleasure. So.
Yeah, that's a good one. Now, what's your favorite movie?
Oh, The Notebook.
Oh, okay.
My dad had Alzheimer's.
Oh.
It's a love story of a couple that wrote down notebook. She wrote in a notebook of all the things of their life.
Oh.
And then got Alzheimer's and forgot it all. So he read the notebook to her every day.
Sounds very touching.
Yes, it is.
I'll have to check that out.
It's a tearjerker.
Typical wifey favorite.
Is it?
Yes.
Your wife likes it, Jerry?
Yeah, one of her top.
Oh, well, it's got to be good.
See?
Yeah.
I'm in good company.
Kid tested and mother approved. All right, what's your favorite food?
Good for you or bad for you?
Favorite?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. I had ice cream last night. I will admit it.
What kind?
It was vanilla and chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite day of the week?
Sunday.
Good one. Favorite book?
Oh, well, my favorite book is probably the Bible, but my favorite author is J.D. Robb. It's a married couple that she's a homicide detective and he's a billionaire. So.
Oh, right up your alley. Nice. What's your dream car?
Mustang. I had a Mustang, 68 Mustang.
Wow. That's a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
A lot of them around here. And they're very loud, I've noticed, pulling away from the red lights. I always thought your dream car was going to be that cruiser in Cape Coral. Have you seen this, Jerry? It's half taxi, half police cruiser.
I haven't seen that
It
one
says,
yet.
don't drink and drive.
Oh, yeah.
If you ride in this car, the taxi side, it costs you $20. If you ride in this side, it's $11,430.
Yeah, I was thinking, is it the Cape PD's car? One of the PD's
I
cars.
live there and I see it a
saw
lot.
it at an event.
Yeah, that's pretty
That was really cool.
Half taxi, half police cruiser.
We
Sure,
want one.
they run that around your neighborhood, I'm sure.
I'll drive it. I'll drive it. Give me one.
I've never ridden in it.
Yeah.
Never ridden in it. All right, changing the subject here, Dr. Swanson. Socks with sandals, yes or no?
No.
Definitely not. There are not too many socks with sandals people, I got to tell you.
Floridians that go to the cold countries.
Yeah, exactly. Who's your personal hero?
Oh, probably Jesus Christ.
That's a strong pull. All right, I hold in my hand the last lightning round question. You get one bucket list item. What is it?
I want to go to Sweden because I've never been there, and that's where my heritage is. So
You have to go to Sweden.
I know.
You have to. You live the Swedish lifestyle.
I know.
You're married to a Swedish man.
Yes.
You have Swedish children.
I know. It's too cold. And they got lutefisk. I don't like lutefisk.
Lutefisk, yeah. I saw an episode of King of the Hill about lutefisk once.
Yep.
And I have not wanted to sample it since. So
They have a lot of those little fish.
Herrings.
No. The
Sardines?
Swedish fish.
Oh, the Swedish
So those are good.
Yes.
That's one of the best.
Isn't that where you get them?
Different
Isn't that where they grow up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus IKEA. IKEA is cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right, Dr. Swanson, thank
Abba.
you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with
You're
us
welcome.
today about realtor safety. We really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to our next show when we record that. Jerry, I want to thank you.
You're very welcome, Jim.
Always great to see you in here. And I also want to thank everyone at the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association, including our CEO, Beata Jones. We are blessed to work among very supportive and wonderful people here in Fort Myers at the Realtor Association. If you want to get a note out to us, you can send us an email to shows@rpcra.org, and be sure to listen to our other podcast, Realtor Riff Rap with Nick Pagelis, and our YouTube video show, Realtor's Corner, which includes Nick and Joanna Rowell as co-hosts. So be sure to check those out and subscribe. We would love it if you did. And I want to thank once again Kim, and thank you for listening, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time.
Thanks for listening to the Royal Palmcast. Tune in again for more episodes and make sure to check out our sister podcast, Realtor Riff Rap, and our video news show, Realtor's Corner, which can be found on the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association Facebook page and YouTube channel. Sponsorship opportunities for these programs and more coming soon. So stay connected with RPCRA and stay tuned. This has been a production of the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association.